spiritual witch, your astrologer and numerologist. So I'm going to bring you your quick astrology and horoscope update for your sign for the month of June. This is based on what I see as an astrologer. I can't speak for what other astrologers may pick up, but we're going to cover the key things going on for the month of June for this particular star sign. So as we head into June, we have the sun still in the sign of Gemini. So for you, the sun is going to be around your area of mental well-being, your deep desires, where you feel held back in life, and any kind of large organizations that you may deal with. This includes hospitals and law enforcement. So this, in astrology terms, is actually your 12th house. So you could feel some real energy from the sun here, which is about growth, health, blessings, vitality. This is a nice house to have the sun in, because this can be a pretty dark and deep house, because it is a house where we sometimes have depression, or where we may not be thinking the best thoughts, or as I said, where we can feel held back. It's also the area of life where we sometimes find our karma and our hidden enemies. And by hidden enemies, I mean people that pretend to be our friend, but actually we find out down the line that they're not, or maybe we don't even find out and they remain hidden as an enemy. So the sun is blessing this area of your life, and I hope that it brings to light any negativity that you need to know as we move into the month of June. So the full moon this month, if we look over on the left hand side, we've got a chart here for the actual day. We've got the sun and the moon circled in black ink. This is what gives us the full moon, where we've got two signs, two opposite signs. One has the sun in, one has the moon in. This is what the full moon looks like when they're opposing each other. And for you, the full moon in Sagittarius, which will be 23 degrees Sagittarius, will actually fall in your area of life where you earn money. So your potential to earn. It's about any services that you provide to others or how you help others. It's your physical health, any disputes that you have, and our pets actually fall in this area of life as well. We call this the 6th area of life. So this is where the moon's actually going to be for you. So where you can see the arrow and number 2, this is the 6th house, and this is where the moon will fall for this particular sun sign of Cancer. So this is a nice house to have a full moon. Full moons can often bring around a decision-making energy as well, because you've got the sun and the moon opposing each other. So we get to a point in life where we need to make a decision in a certain area of our life. For you, it could be around your 6th house. It could be time to look at how you earn money, how you can earn more money, how you can increase your streams of income. You know, look at the services that you're providing. Are you happy doing these things for other people? And how is your health? And what about your pets? Let's not forget our pets. Our pets are key parts of our life as well. So these are key things to look at for you as we head over to the full moon in June. Now, one thing that is happening in the cosmos that can cause maybe a little bit of conflict, as I said, full moons can bring around this need to make decisions sometimes. We're going to have the planet Neptune form what we call a square, can't speak today, a square with the sun and the moon. Now, a square is technically, to put it in simple terms, it's when two planets or a number of planets, they are kind of frustrated with each other. They are not in negative energy, but they're quite annoyed, they're quite frustrated. You know, there's a little bit of conflict. And for you, how this might fall for anybody who's a Cancer, for the Cancer sun sign, is that where we see the planet that's circled in yellow, this is Neptune. For you, this energy, Neptune's energy, is going to be in your 9th house. So this is your area of higher education, spirituality. It's how you view life, or how we view life. So your kind of philosophy, you could say, on life. It's how you see God, religion. It's the house of publishing. It's the house of sports. And it's also a house of travel and adventure as well. So travel that's at a distance. So Neptune's energy will be here, and Neptune is about hopes and dreams and goals. And this can be the planet that sometimes causes us to be a little bit delusional and maybe not look at things for what they are as well. But when he is in retrograde, that's when we get the real reality check. At the moment, he is direct. He's not moving backwards. So you may need to look at your 9th house. You may need to look at your higher education. If you're someone who's thinking to study, if you're thinking of doing any travel, this is distance travel. So this could be to foreign places, you know, and your overall views on life. This could come up for you this month around the full moon. Now, how he's going to be projecting his energy of causing a little bit of confusion or hopes and dreams, and that kind of energy that Neptune brings is to your 6th and 12th houses. So your 6th is actually where this full moon is, so it's how you earn money, the services you provide, your health and so forth, as mentioned, but also the other house that the sun is going to be in and kind of blessing as we move through June, your 12th house, which is about your mental well-being, your deep desires, how you feel held back, any law enforcement I should say, dealings that you have, hospitals, and those hidden enemies that may come to fruition. So what I can see for this particular sign is that although it's quite a nice full moon, you know, you're going to have the full moon blessing, you know, how you earn money, which is good, you know. You could need to make some decisions around this, but be mindful of any areas that you're being a little bit delusional about, with Neptune's energy kind of projecting his energy of frustration over to your 6th house and over to your 12th house. So these are things to be mindful of as we kind of start the month. So by the time we get to the full moon, sorry, the new moon, we've just had the full moon, we get to the new moon on the 29th of June. This will be happening at 2:53 a.m. GMT, my local time. Please convert this to your own. It could be the 29th, it could be the 30th. It does depend where you are in the world. So this is a Cancer new moon, and this is where you really need to step into your own personal power, Cancer, because it's your week, basically. So a new or full moon energy, or any of the moon phase energies, last for about 7 to 8 days. So you have a real period here in June from the 29th for about 7 or 8 days to really focus on you, because this is going to fall in your 1st house, where I've put number 1 with the pink arrow. So it's time for personal manifestation. It's time for thinking about what it is that you want, your grounding, your approach to life, and your own personal happiness. Because right now, you are the sign that is basically dominating this whole new moon. And new moons are about new energy, new cycles. So you may find that as we close out the month of June, any frustrations that you had around the beginning, certainly with Neptune's energy and the decision making and so forth, it could clear itself up by the time we get to your personal power week and the Cancer new moon comes around, and a new cycle could begin for you personally, because this is going to be in your 1st house. So wonderful week for you. Don't miss this. If you are an early born Cancer, as in you are born early into Cancer season, you know, the first sort of like week or two, your own moon, so your own sun, which will be in Cancer, is going to be at early degrees, especially, you know, if you have very, very early degrees that are close to 7, where the new moon is actually happening at 7 degrees into Cancer, where you can see it circled in the black ink. This is the sun and the moon there, both side by side. This is what gives us the new moon, and they're both going to be at 7 degrees Cancer. So if your actual sun is around this kind of degree, then whew, what a week for you. But if it's not, and you're someone who's born mid to late degrees or later on in Cancer season, then of course, you know, by all means, this is still your personal power week. But I especially urge all my early born Cancers to make the most of this week. Now, one thing that's going on around the new moon is we're going to have Mars's sextile to the planets Saturn and Pluto. This is going to be around the 28th, so just before we approach the moon. Now, this is quite good energy because Mars is a planet of, you know, it will get things done. It's determination, it's how we are motivated in life. It's basically a planet that will kind of move forcefully and move quite quickly. And this can be quite helpful sometimes, even though it is the planet of war as well. Sometimes we do need Mars's energy in life to kind of propel us forward. So if you look at where I've circled the yellow planet, this is the chart for the actual new moon day itself. Mars is over there under Aries, which is perfect because that is the sign that Mars, the planet, is coordinated with. And for you, Mars's energy is going to be around your 9th house. So he could be really making you feel quite motivated or pushed or drawn to particularly travel, higher education again. You could be feeling quite spiritually inclined around the new moon, because you've got Mars's energy of motivation in that house of spirituality, and you may find that you might want to act on something that you think or feel or have a viewpoint on, because this is the house of, you know, philosophy and how we think in life and how we feel about things. So Mars's energy will be here. Now a sextile is quite, you know, it's quite positive energy. It's where planets are in slight kind of harmony, so they're kind of getting along quite well, they're having a conversation, and they're not really causing any conflict between each other. They're being quite, you know, quite reasonable towards each other. So Mars will be projecting his energy of motivation, determination and drive from your 9th house, particularly to your 7th and 8th house, where he's forming this sextile. So your 7th and 8th houses are your relationships, your marriage, your serious commitments in life. That would be your 7th house, and any legal matters that you're dealing with. Things like business partners as well. Business partners will fall into this house, or any kind of serious committed relationship or serious commitments that you have in life. Okay, so Mars could be motivating you in those areas as well and working quite well in that part of your life. Now your 8th house is, or where you share things. So this is your shared desires, your shared time. This is debts, taxes, finances, anything that we have in life that is not 100% ours, that we share with somebody else. This could even be property as well. So if you are buying a house, you know, with somebody else, if you are trying to sort out your debts and your taxes, you know, things that you owe, you could be quite motivated around this area of your life, or this could be a good time for it, and things could hopefully go pretty well. So this is where Mars is kind of working his energy in a positive way for once, because Mars is a planet that can, as I said, bring a lot of conflict and a lot of I don't want to say hardships, because that's more the planet of Saturn, but it's a planet that can bring a forceful energy that sometimes can lead to disaster if you don't manage Mars's energy properly, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But he's working pretty positively for you, for us all, I should say, around the new moon, and this is where he'll be working his energy. So this is good for you. So that is what's going on around the new moon. So do enjoy your new moon if you are a Cancer watching this, because it is your special time. So finally, before we close out, we've got some key planet energies and what's going on this month. We've got 3 planets making some transits. This will impact us all, but how it will impact a Cancer sun sign is we have Mercury, which will turn direct finally on the 3rd of June. We are in Mercury retrograde as I'm recording this, and it's been going on since last month, the month of May. But he's going to turn direct finally in Taurus at 26 degrees, and this is going to be in your 11th house. So Mercury is that planet of communication. He is the planet of short trips. He is the planet of IT. And you may hear people say, you know, when we're in Mercury retrograde, you know, their telephone stops working, they have IT problems, they have mishaps with their travel journeys. This is all because Mercury is in retrograde and he's moving backwards. But now he's direct and pushing us forwards. Your 11th house, which is your area of life to do with your hopes, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, your co-workers, your networks, your connections, and other people that you are connected to in life in either a professional way or a platonic way, not romantic at all, but you have a connection for a reason, because either you work together, you collaborate together, or there's some kind of associate for you. So if you've had any kind of conflict or difficulty, you know, as we've been through retrograde around this area of life, by the time we get to the 3rd of June, things could look up and communication could be clear and things could be moving forward. It's also a green light from the planet Mercury and the universe to urge you to have a think about what your hopes, dreams, goals and aspirations are as he turns direct in this part of your life, because this is the planet of thoughts as well. So, and it's a good time if you are a Cancer who is a writer, blogger, or someone who you know, communicates with people on a daily basis, like with large amounts of people. Obviously we all communicate with people, but if you are someone who speaks quite publicly, like a teacher or some kind of trainer, then this is great, because he's turning direct in a house that is to do with how we associate and communicate with other people for you. So that's wonderful. Now we've got 2 retrogrades happening. So we've got Saturn, which is turning retrograde. And as I kind of said, when a planet goes retrograde, it's about calling us back to something, yeah, to take a second look. Saturn is that planet that causes challenges. He causes maturity. He puts obstacles in people's way. You know, he is a real hard taskmaster, and this is so that we learn our lessons in life. So he is about to call you back to something in your 9th house. Now for Cancer, you have had a lot of activity around your 9th house as I looked at this horoscope for you, and he's going to turn retrograde in the sign of Aquarius, which is good because he is associated with this sign. So he's going to turn retrograde at 25 degrees in your 9th house. So it could be that in June, where you've got a lot of activity around your 9th house, Saturn could be asking you to go back and think about something in your 9th house, which is your higher education, your views on life. It's your distance travel. You know, maybe you're thinking about traveling somewhere abroad. It's also the house of publishing, the house of sports, and the house of general spirituality and how we really see life. You know, it's like our higher self house, you could say, the 9th house. So around the 5th, when he's moving backwards, he's kind of asking you to think about this area and maybe revisit something in this part of your life that is to do with your 9th house. Finally, Neptune is also going to do a retrograde on us as well. He is going to turn his back around the 29th, 25 degrees into the sign of Pisces. Now for you, this is going to directly impact on your career and your direction. That is the 10th house. So where you're heading in life, what you're famous for, what you're known for, what your career is, you know, what it is that you're trying to achieve and your overall ambition, like your direction. This is where Neptune is going to be retrograding through. Neptune is that planet of hopes and dreams, as I kind of mentioned at the beginning. And as I said, when he turns retrograde, rather than getting us caught up in being very unrealistic about things, as he can sometimes do when it's direct, in retrograde is when we get a real reality check. So for you, Cancer, I'd like you to be mindful of your career decisions, mindful of your direction and where you're going overall generally in life, because he is around this part of your life and he is trying to give you some kind of reality check or to call you back to something to do with your career and your direction. So for some of you, it could be a good time to really revisit where you're going with that part of your life as we close out the month of June. So that's about it that I've got for you for this month for Cancer. So blessed be. Have a wonderful month. Please drop me a comment. Let me know how it resonates. Like the video. If you haven't already, it'd be great if you did. Subscribe. Why not? If you're not already a subscriber, I'd love to meet you here again, and I guess I will see you for next month's horoscope or when the next video goes up. So have a wonderful month and I'll see you then.